Hello and welcome to the Smith & Brown Accountants Excel tutorial series. Today is episode 5. I'm going to go through formulas in a bit more detail than we did previously. We're going to go through the insert function, which we have touched on, formula principles and some examples for you. Right, the basic principles of formulas, again we have gone through this very briefly, is they all must start with an equal sign. There are set functions available to help formula writing, for example equals sum, equals count, average, if, and they're just a few examples. And if we do use one of these, it always must be equals, the function name and open brackets, but we'll go through this in more detail in this episode. You can find the formula builder up here in the formulas tab of the top ribbon. We can insert a function. I'll just select an empty cell here. And this is where we can search what we want to do. For example, sum. And from here you can select a function from the drop down box. Now you'll see when you click on the function it will tell you what it is it actually does underneath in normal words. For example, for the if function it checks whether a condition is met and returns one value if true and another if false. Then if we click OK, you'll see the top box is the logical test, so is it greater than or less than something, the value if true and the value if false. Now these can be actual values that are typed in, or alternatively if you select this box here you can then select a cell on the sheet. However, at the moment we're just going to go through typing some functions. We have some raw data down here at the bottom that we've just randomized and put in so we can show you some examples. The examples we're actually going to go through are sum, count, average, if, and sum if at the end. For the sum function we go equals sum, open brackets, and as you will see Excel assists you here as it puts a string underneath the formula box to prompt what you need to do. Now we can either type the cell reference. Now this is the cell we want, so it will be C23, and as you will see it selects it with this blue box, or alternatively if we delete that we can actually just click on the cell reference. Now as you will see underneath it says number 1, number 2, so we need to put a comma, select the next number, a comma, select the next number, and so on. And then once we've finished our function we close the brackets and hit the enter button, and as you will see it has added these up in this cell. Now alternatively with the sum function, if we just delete that, we can go equals sum, open brackets, and we can actually just click and drag the range we want to add up, and as you will see it will say C23 colon to C27. If we close the brackets now, press enter, you'll see it gives the same value. Now with Microsoft Excel, to prevent having to type out formulas numerous times, you can actually just click and drag them across. So now we have this column of data, and now we want to add up this column of data. Now we have equals sum here. If we go to the bottom right hand corner, we can actually just drag this across, and as you will see, it's actually changed the function to include this new column. And we can do that for the column next to it also. Next we'll go through equals count. Now equals count adds up the number of cells in a data series. For example, equals count, open brackets, same principle as the sum, click the first one, drag it down, close the brackets and press enter. And it's telling us there are 5 values within this data range. Now just to show you this works, if we delete this here and we go equals count and we drag it down to the one below to include a blank, close brackets, click enter, you'll see it still says 5. If we populate this cell at the bottom with random data, you'll see it automatically updates. Now exactly the same principle as the sum, if we drag this across using the bottom right hand corner, you'll see it also counts the number of items of data in the data series above. It's exactly the same principle to find the average. We go equals average, open brackets. Again, it's prompting number 1, comma, number 2, but we can actually just click and drag the range as it's all one after another, row by row. Now we close the brackets, press enter, and as you'll see, it gives us the average of this data series. Again, drag it across, and that is the average of the data series above that. And if you ever wondering what exactly the data series it's referring to, if you click inside the formula, you'll see it then highlights it in the relevant colour you can see here at the top. Now we'll move on to the if function. The if function is slightly different, as it actually provides a logical test. Now, for example, we go equals if, open brackets. This is asking us what is our logical test. Now, for example, if we wanted to know if the average was over 30, we click on the average here, and as you'll see it's highlighted, and say, is that greater than 30, comma, what is it, if this is true, what value do you want me to give? Now we're going to say open quotations true, comma, open quotations false. Now after the comma is the value if this logical test is false. Now we'll close brackets, hit enter, and as you'll see it's false as it is under 30. We also have more complicated formulas such as sum if here at the bottom. However, we will come to that later on in this Excel series. That concludes our introduction to formulas, and we hope to see you next time.